This is Sid Haas with LKCS. I'm the Vice President of Business Development here, and I've been heavily involved with helping several of our customers obviously maximize their social media efforts. So the purpose of the presentation today is obviously to discuss ways to help, that you can manage your social media efforts better and meet all of the regulations and requirements surrounding those, while obviously seeing tremendous success from those marketing efforts. For those of you not familiar with LKCS, this is my one obligatory slide that discusses the company. We've been serving financial institutions for over 50 years, since 1961 in fact. And you can see on this slide our array of solutions. So for the last 8 or 10 years, our focus has clearly been on data and helping our clients get the maximum return on their marketing investments, whether that's done through traditional media, print and direct mail, through web development, through our statement solutions, through a lot of targeted one-to-one marketing solutions that we offer, or through social media, as we're going to be discussing today. During the presentation, I'm really going to focus on 3 areas. We're going to give an overview of social media marketing. We're going to discuss what makes effective social media content and how to increase engagement, with your content, and then obviously talk, for quite a bit about managing social media and the challenge that comes along, the challenges that come along with social media. And we should have time at the end for questions and answers as well. So obviously, when we talk about social media marketing, it's important to understand that this is not an overnight success, right? I mean, just establishing a social media site is not the win, I guess. Social media is about engagement. It's about building communities. It's not a set and forget it strategy. It does require some time and effort, obviously, to get the most out of social media. We're going to talk about a lot of different ways that you can minimize the amount of time and effort that are required. So the social media landscape is huge, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. I mean, it's much more than the major websites that we think about. It's more than Facebook, it's more than Twitter, it's more than LinkedIn. There's literally hundreds of different social media channels, and there's new ones appearing every day. You obviously can't be everywhere, but you have to know that there's more than just those couple of major ones that you're likely to invest in. There are social media, websites that are targeting specific audiences. LinkedIn is a good example of that. It's obviously targeting the business community, but there's much more. There's micro blog sites and smaller sites that are targeting specific interest groups, and there's some that have specific purposes. YouTube is obviously there for videos. Instagram is there for photos. Pinterest is there for different reasons as well. So you just have to be aware of that and pick the social media channels that best fit your needs. For the people on the call today, on the webinar today, that's most likely going to be Facebook and Twitter to start with, but we're going to talk about some others as well. Some of the benefits of social media marketing that you should be aware of are obviously that you can increase that brand awareness exposure, definitely strengthen relationships and expand service opportunities. Social media is becoming a huge member and customer service channel. So we can discuss obviously in more detail how to build on that. The goal is to build that loyal community of followers. That loyalty is huge, and being able to get those brand ambassadors that are going to talk about your institutions, is obviously a very important goal with social media. It will definitely boost traffic to your website. It will improve search engine optimization. It will enhance your trustworthiness and your expertise. At least your position of being an expert in the field. Social media can cut your marketing costs. It's not expensive to get into social media. It's certainly not expensive to publish your content and hopefully do it in a way that gets it to go viral and increase its spread. And it does allow you to monitor your brand's online reputation. Now, that's one of the challenges that we're going to be talking about as well, but the fact that you're doing it is going to open up opportunities for you. And at the end of the day, that's going to lead to obviously new accounts, new members, new customers, and new sales opportunities for your institution. So, when you registered for the webinar, we actually asked you if you had Facebook pages or Twitter profiles set up, and you can see the numbers there. And I want to actually have a really quick poll for you to answer a question on here for me. So if you can go ahead and answer the question that just showed up on your screen. Basically, we want to know if you either or both have a Google Plus page or pages that you're using, and if you have a blog. So I'll give you a few seconds to answer that, and then I'll share the results with you. Okay. So what you can see on your screen here is that there's a few of you, that are using Google Plus and have a blog both. Congratulations. There's a couple people that are using only Google Plus and no blog, but the majority of you are using neither a blog or Google Plus. So let me explain why I just asked that question. So let's discuss Facebook first, and why obviously, a good portion of you are using Facebook already, and it's clearly about those first two numbers. Facebook is the most widely used social media network, with 1.3 billion monthly active users and 829 million daily users. What's amazing to me is of those 829 million daily users, 654 million of them are mobile. They're not using their desktop computers, they're using their phones and tablets. 30% of Americans get their news on Facebook. You can see the numbers. I mean, I don't have to read necessarily all of these, but it is huge. Now, there's definitely some evidence that, younger demographics are using Facebook a little bit less than they were in the past and using channels like Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and other social media channels a little bit more. But I am not among the opinion that Facebook is dying by any stretch. It's continuing to grow year after year by 14% on the monthly side and 19% on the daily user side. Twitter's significantly smaller, with 255 million monthly active users, 58 million of them in the U.S., but it's also a little bit more active in that there's 500 million tweets sent each day, which equates to 5,700 per second, which is huge. You can see the growth from 2012 to 2013. I have not seen new metrics since then, but I would imagine that it's probably growing even faster than that. And you can see why people are on Twitter. 73% of people follow businesses on Twitter to get news updates. They want to know what you're doing. They're more likely to make a future purchase, and they feel more connected to a business. And one thing to know is that a large number, and I don't remember the exact percentage, but a large number of Twitter users, and Facebook users for that matter, use it to get information. They don't publish, they don't tweet, they don't post on Facebook. They're using it to absorb information. So you may not see them, be active, but they're still getting your content. And we'll talk about ways that we can actually see how we can, measure that engagement without actually having them necessarily respond with a post. So the reason that I asked the questions about Google Plus is that if you're not using Google Plus, you should be. If there's one takeaway from this webinar that you should have, it's to claim those Google Plus pages. Google Plus has created a page most likely for each and every one of your locations, and you should claim those. And the reason is not because Google Plus is the most active or the largest social media network, although it does have, it's only second to Facebook. It has over 1 billion accounts and 359 million active monthly people, but that's really because it's Google. and the way that Google is integrating Google Plus into everything that they're doing, they're basically driving people to use it whether they know they're using it or not. But those +1 buttons you see on websites, those are used over 5 billion times each day. The absolute most important reason for you to use Google Plus is search engine optimization. Google Plus is Google. They invested well over $500 million to establish the platform. It's not going to go away. And what's important to know is that every post to Google Plus gets its own unique URL. That's different than how Facebook and Twitter and everybody else work. That individual URL is indexed and is listed in those search results. So as you post content on Google Plus, even if that content doesn't have a direct relation back to your website, it will be indexed, it will show up in those search results, and that will drive people back to the website. Google is definitely weighing your activity on Google Plus as a factor in where you fall in search ranking order. The number of +1s is part of that. The activity that you have on Google Plus is another part of that. And keep in mind that along with Google Plus, Google owns YouTube. And YouTube videos, if you're posting videos to YouTube, are predominantly featured on Google Plus. All of that together is going to pay huge dividends with you for search engine optimization. Now, what we recommend to most of our clients now is not to change how you're doing, what you're posting on Facebook or what channels you're using for social media, but it's very, very easy, and I'll show you how easy it is in a few slides, for you to publish the same content you're publishing to Facebook, to publish it to each of your Google Plus pages as well. And that's how you can begin to use it and see what happens, with that Google Plus community, and determine if you need to make any changes, from there. And why I mention a blog is also for search engine optimization. Along with Google Plus, blog content is heavily favored by the search engines, especially Google and Bing, which are obviously the two major search engines. They realize that that's fresh content, it's new content, it's content that's easily shared on your social media sites. It does help you establish your expertise, and because you can enable comments and things like that with your blogs, it will generate leads. It will also link back to your website and things like that. So a blog is also something that's extremely important for you to consider, and we can discuss that in a lot more detail if you're interested. But let's start talking about the content of social media and what makes good content and how to increase that engagement. And the first is obviously that social media is social. You should be posting on Facebook in particular and Google Plus at least 3 to 5 times per week. You don't want to abuse your Facebook users. If you post too often, it will actually drive people away. But a good rule of thumb is about 3 to 5 times per week, which is easily attainable. With Twitter, however, posts on Facebook and Google Plus actually live for up to a couple of days, especially if they, get some engagement. The more engagement a post has on Facebook, the more people will see it, and the longer Facebook will continue to show it in people's news feeds. But with Twitter, a tweet literally only lasts a few seconds to a couple of minutes at most. So you can tweet multiple times per day. So that 3 to 5 times per week rule does not apply to Twitter at all. You can post to Twitter 3 to 5 times a day and not alienate users at all. What's interesting is that there's a lot of different studies, and they all contradict each other about when's the best time to post your social media content. The best evidence that I've seen shows that the highest traffic, especially with Facebook, occurs midweek. Wednesday to Friday, mid to late week, between 1 and 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And on Thursdays and Fridays, engagement, in other words, the number of people that will comment and like and, act on your posts is actually 18% higher than other days of the week. That's not to say that you shouldn't post at 8 o'clock in the morning sometimes, or over the weekend, or late at night, or on other days, because that certainly can work, especially if you have a newsworthy item or something that will attract attention. But this is in general the best time to post. And we'll show you when we talk about some of the social media tools how you can determine that best time to post, and how some of those tools even optimize the publishing of your posts based on when your particular followers are most active. So post and respond often. Responding is really important. You want to be active. You don't just want to push content out, but you want to thank people for comments. You want to respond to their comments. You want to be visible. You want people to know that you're watching what's happening on your Facebook page, on your Twitter profile, on your Google Plus pages, wherever that is. And it's important to know that you don't want to ignore or delete negative comments. Negative comments will happen. Hopefully they won't happen very often, but they will occur, and you'll have to respond to them. And you have to know that once a negative comment is out there, even if you take it off of your page, other people have already seen it. So, what people are looking for is they don't expect everybody to like, their bank or their credit union every day. There's going to be times that people are not happy with any business, for that matter. So that's not going to surprise them. What they want to see is how you respond to that. Now, obviously, we'll discuss this further, but with privacy rules and regulations, you're not necessarily going to be able to answer each and every negative comment, but you can certainly say, we appreciate your concern, or thank you for bringing this up. Let's take the conversation offline, right? Direct message me, or, give me some information so I can give you a call, whatever that is. Develop a post strategy. So you can create your content in advance. I'll show you how we do that. You can schedule when that content is posted. You can do all of that well ahead of time. Use photos, images, links, and videos whenever possible. And just remember that social media is social. It should be fun and informative, and not just push your products and services. This is an example of a social media calendar. There's lots of different formats. We can help you with this type of thing, but what you're seeing here is the month, the day of the week, and then in this case, just a Monday and afternoon. This is actually more of a Twitter type calendar, but you can see how in certain instances we will populate the exact post that will go out. And in some cases, we're just literally, putting in a placeholder. We know that, in this case, a blog post may be published on in the first week of each month. We're going to promote that blog post on social media, but we don't know what that topic is yet, as an example. Okay. What makes good content? Again, photos and videos. People love images. All of the cliches that you hear are true. Links. People like to click on links, and don't limit the links just back to your website. Link to other websites that obviously don't compete with you. Link to news articles, link to funny tidbits. Mix that up. I can share numerous stories. Yesterday's iPhone launch was certainly something that got a lot of attention, and you could have used that potentially to promote your mobile apps, right? Your mobile banking solutions, and we know they're going to be updated to fit the new screen sizes on the iPhone 6. If you haven't heard about it, here's information on the launch. That 80-20 rule, and then you can stretch that 70-30, 60-40, whatever it depends on the amount of engagement you have. If you're just getting started with social media, though, I would stick close to that 80-20, where 80% of your status updates gives value and information to your fans first, and 20% can be promotional and linked directly back to your products and services. Remember to post like a friend, not a brand. Don't post like a company, post like an individual. We're all very used to all of the different financial terms and lingo, but that doesn't mean that our followers on social media are familiar with that. So stay away from those. And again, reply to people when they comment. Like their comments, thank them for their comments, retweet their tweets, Anything like that that shows engagement, they're going to show that it's going to show that you care about those individual people, and they're going to be more likely to engage with you as you move forward. And again, I'll show you ways that you can do that and even automate some of that. Keep your status updates short. I mean, obviously Twitter is limited to 140 characters total, which forces you to keep them short. Facebook, I see posts that are paragraphs long that amaze me. Typically keep them well under 250 characters. And when you need to have something longer, link to a blog post or a news item on your website or something, or even a full web page if you need to. Celebrate milestones. People love to see numbers and anniversaries and birthdays and things like that. Recipes, it's amazing how much engagement they get. It's silly, you guys are, financial institutions, but people love seeing pictures of food. They absolutely love it. And again, most importantly, post regularly. Be consistent. One thing you definitely don't want to do is get started with Facebook, let's say, and start posting once a day, even a couple of times a day, and then all of a sudden you don't post for 3 weeks or a month because you get busy. So you need to make sure to get that content developed ahead of time, schedule it so that it can stay consistent, and you only have to work on it maybe once or twice a month. Okay. And then as far as the content that increases engagement, ask people to like your comments and your posts. There's nothing wrong with, comment if you like this or whatever it is. Trivia isn't trivial. We can show you several examples of our customers who, when they post a trivia question, maybe it's once a week, those posts get the most engagement of anything that they're doing. People love those nuggets of information, and they can be financial related. They don't have to be. They can be related to the date, all sorts of different things. But trivia is really good. Ask a question about an image. Put a photo up and ask a question about it. Get people to put captions on photos. I can tell you that probably the most impressive post that I saw for one of our customers happened a couple of weeks ago. It was National Dog Day or something like that, and we just posted a post asking people to post pictures of their dog, a comment with a picture of their dog. They got hundreds of people to comment, and as soon as some people started putting photos of their dogs out there, it seemed like the whole universe was doing it. Just simple things like that generate huge engagement. That particular customer has now already looked at, what else they can do around pets and the National Dog Show, or partnering with a local shelter to improve that and continue that. So just things to think about. And simple fill in the blank prompts, work as well. Anything that's going to get somebody to type 2, 3, 4 words, post a photo, whatever it is, to get that engagement. We always hear, of people asking us, well, where can we find content? You can find content all over each and every one of your branches. Talk to your HR people about new hires and, things like that. Consider an Ask the President type of engagement where, if you just post a question here for our CEO, he's going to answer it. Ask your employees, especially your younger, those younger employees that are most active on social media. Ask them to send you, an email a couple times a week or whenever they think of a good post. Obviously, your products and services, I guarantee that I can take any of your newsletters and probably pull at least a half a dozen, if not more than that. Probably out of each article I can pull a couple, so probably 8 to 10 at least posts out of each of your newsletters that you can use. Any community events, and you guys are doing stuff all over, each and every community that you serve, that gives you the opportunity to say, hey, we're going to be here before we're there, and, the day of we're there, and a couple days later, post photos from being there. For those of you that are serving business customers, get information about their grand openings and their specials and their new menu items if they're restaurants and all of those types of things, and obviously give them some value from doing business with you. And then also, all of the news, weather, stocks, sports, all of that type of stuff can all be used in conjunction for you to get, 15 to 20 posts per month. It's not that difficult. So let's jump into some of the social media challenges. And I've grouped these into three main categories, but the first one, and probably the biggest one, is being brand reputation. We know that people are talking about your institution whether you like it or not. And while some of it is truthful, hopefully most of it, not all of it is. So around brand reputation, you need to control your brand. You need to monitor that activity. You need to establish those social media sites so that those conversations can happen where you see them and where you can respond to them. We can see them, right? I mean, I'll show you how we can monitor the web in general and monitor all sorts of social media sites for people talking about you. But unless you have a social media site established, a presence established on that site where that conversation is happening, you won't be able to respond to it. So by establishing that Facebook page, or that Twitter profile, we're giving a place for that conversation to occur, and then you have that opportunity to respond to it. You'll be able to answer questions, and you'll get a lot of questions. Hopefully, if you're getting good engagement, people will ask questions about your products and services, or about just financial stuff in general. And you'll be able to solve issues. There's a lot of complaints, let's say, that come in that are just basic customer service issues. Not only can you address the issue with that particular account holder, but you can also educate all of your other customers and members and prospective account holders about that particular issue. Obviously, social media, places a demand on your time, and it's most likely for just about all of you that are on the webinar today that social media is probably not your only job responsibility. It's not probably your full-time job, right? So if you have to sign into multiple sites now, we've talked about already Facebook, we've talked about Twitter, we've talked about Google+, we've talked about YouTube, we've talked about potentially LinkedIn. If you start establishing all of these different sites and now you've got to log into them multiple times per day to see if people are commenting or posting or reviewing your institution, obviously that takes a huge amount of time out of your day. So we'll show you how you can minimize that. And what about those sites you don't even use, right? You're not using Pinterest today. Maybe you're not using Instagram today. Maybe you're not on Twitter yet, right? So how do you know if, are you going to go in there and start setting up searches and all those types of things to look for anybody mentioning, your bank or your credit union? So what you need to do is obviously have a way to approve and publish that social media content ahead of time so that we can reduce the amount of time so that, we can spend 1 block of time or 2 blocks of time a month getting that content generated and published for the rest of the month. We need a way to obviously identify anybody talking about us, which we talked about before, but then also review and respond quickly to those posts and comments without having to log in to all of these different websites throughout the day. And we need a way to report on this activity and those results. We need to be able to do that all quickly and efficiently. We hear all the time from customers, we ask them how they're reporting now, and they're telling us, oh, well, every time a comment comes in, I have to cut and paste it into a spreadsheet. Well, they're looking all the time then for these comments to come in, and they have to remember to copy it and then open that Excel spreadsheet and paste it and save it, and that's all, obviously taking time out of their day. And social media keeps growing and changing, right? I mean, we talked about it already that social media is much more than Facebook and Twitter, and that you can't possibly establish a presence on every social media site and every microblog site and every review site. And it's going to keep changing. Pinterest wasn't around a few years ago, and now it's huge, especially with women. And we see banks and credit unions establishing sites on Pinterest. So just, that's just one example, but you need to be able to monitor and consolidate the information from all of these social media sites in one place so that you can, you know what's going on, you can respond to it, you can continue that conversation and then continue to build that community, of those loyal followers. So compliance, for the compliance people that are in on the call, social media is very scary to them, right? I mean, because it is social and it is public. And there is, some risk management that you need to do, and think about the risks involved with social media and how you're going to address those. You need to keep management and the board informed of your use of social media. And you need to even educate your employees about how they use social media, especially when it comes to, to speaking anything about the bank or credit union, right? And just know that all of the rules and regulations that apply to all of your other advertising, whether it's a billboard or a newspaper ad, or a poster in your lobby, or a direct mail campaign, those same rules and regulations apply to social media. I'm sure you've all heard of it and seen it, but the FFIEC, everybody was waiting at the end of last year for them to release their social media guidance and expected, many new requirements potentially. Well, that was released back in December, and there were no new requirements. They explained in their guidance that social media, that you needed to explain the potential risk, that you needed, expectations on how you were going to manage that risk, and they had some suggestions regarding policies and procedures that you have in place. But all of that is very manageable. It's not difficult to do. There's no reason that because of compliance concerns that you should not venture into the world of social media. You just have to have a plan on how you're going to do it. You need to have everybody informed on how you're going to do it and how you're going to respond to different potential risks that come up with using social media. The fact of the matter is people are talking about you. If they're going to complain on social media, they're already complaining to their friends and family. They may very well be complaining on their own Facebook pages or own Twitter accounts. You just don't know it. So that's the biggest thing we hear with compliance. Well, now we're going to get complaints. Well, guess what? Those complaints were happening already. We're just giving you a way to find them and address them. So the good news is that social media can be managed. It can be managed efficiently. It can be managed affordably. It doesn't have to take a huge amount of time. It doesn't have to take a huge investment to get a good return from social media. So here's a couple of tools for you to consider. Hootsuite is probably the most popular tool when it comes to social media management. My opinions are in the blue, so I feel it's pretty good at reporting and monitoring. Its publishing tools are okay. Its problem is it gets very expensive. They have a free version to get you sucked in and using it, but it's limited to like 5 social media profiles or something like that. It's, just by adding your Google Plus pages for each location, you'll go over that. And then if you, dare to want to do different things or add additional users, it adds up very, very quickly. TweetDeck is a great tool, and it was probably even better before Twitter purchased it because it was not limited to only Twitter, but now it is. So it's great for monitoring Twitter feeds, but it does, unfortunately, nothing else anymore. Buffer is a tremendous publishing tool, but it doesn't have any monitoring. So, I don't like to recommend, that you get Hootsuite for this and Buffer for that, and, oh, you also need this tool and oh, you also need that tool. I prefer one tool. Sprout Social is a terrific tool as well, but just like Hootsuite, it's limited to the number of profiles. It's not as limiting as Hootsuite, but it does limit the number of profiles that you have, and it is pretty costly to add additional users. And of course, since we're putting on the webinar, we're going to be talking about LKCS's social media management platform. I feel it's better than all of these tools, and it's one solution to do everything that you'll really need to do. But we're going to talk about what it does, but more importantly, we're going to talk about what you should look for in any social media management tool. So when it comes to publishing content, you want to be able to publish content to multiple social media sites from one spot. You want to publish to your Facebook page. You want to publish to all of your Google Plus pages. You want to publish to your Twitter profile or your LinkedIn or your Pinterest or your Instagram or your YouTube or your SlideShare, any of these different social media sites that you could possibly have. You want to be able to publish content to them from one central location without having to log in to each and every one of them separately to publish that content. You want to be able to make sure that you can publish links, that you can publish photos, that you can publish videos, that you can publish blog posts, all from that one spot. And I personally think it's really important for you to look for solutions that offer you unlimited profiles. It's, while you may think right now that we're just starting with Facebook, or we're just starting with Facebook and Twitter, I don't need more than 1, 2, or 3 profiles, you're going to find very quickly that you do, especially when you start setting up some monitoring, because in a lot of these solutions that I'm talking about, a monitor, in other words, some kind of search that's looking for different terms or keywords that you've set up to monitor your reputation, that takes up 1 or more of those profiles. So I would recommend looking for for a tool that has unlimited profiles. And clearly it's very important for you to find a tool that allows you to schedule content in advance. You want to set the time and date for each post at the very least, and some of the tools enable the system to optimize that for you based on that engagement like we talked about before. These systems are smart enough, many of them, or certainly some of them, to look at when you are publishing content, when that content is getting the most engagement, and then building a schedule for you so that your posts are going to go out at the days and times that get the most engagement, preferably. This is a screenshot of LKCS's social media management tool. There's a lot going on this particular screen, so I'll explain it to you. But what you're seeing at the top are a list of potentially all of your social media profiles. So this is actually a screenshot of our profile in the system. And you can see that a few of these are highlighted. These are the social media profiles that this particular post is going to be published on. So I was publishing this on Facebook. I was publishing it on our Google Plus page. I was publishing it on our LinkedIn page. And because it was short enough, I was also sending it to Twitter. But you'll see that I could have added WordPress. I could have multiple Google Plus pages. I can have an Instagram account. I can have there's dozens of social media platforms that are supported. I can see my post down here, looking for a great social media management solution. You found it, click for your 30-day trial. You can see that I've included a link, and most importantly in this particular case, I've also controlled that preview image. For any of you that currently have a Facebook page, you've probably seen that it's frustrating sometimes when you create a link, you don't necessarily know what picture is going to go along with that. And Facebook's algorithm doesn't always pick the best one, right? So a lot of these tools, including ours, enable you to specify that preview image so you know exactly what image is going to go with the link. Even if it's not your own website, a third-party website that you're linking to, you can control that preview image. So that's a quick snapshot of the publishing tool that we offer. But again, these features, or a lot of these features, are available in other ones as well. The advanced publishing extras that we have, I've already talked about those link preview images. But one of the unique things that our tool offers that I don't see in many, actually I don't know if I've seen them in any other tools, is that you can schedule and publish not only your Facebook photos, but those cover photos. So many of you on your websites today have rotating banner ads and different things like that, but you keep the same image on Facebook day after day, week after week, month after month, and probably year after year, and you never change that cover photo. It's not the easiest thing in the world to change. You can change that with this tool. You can actually schedule when that's going to change. So when you're creating a banner ad for your website, just create it at a slightly different size and then update that Facebook cover photo as often as once a week. I mean, if you're getting engagement and you're getting, your customers and your members and your fans to visit that page, they're going to stop looking at that image after a while. Facebook, for those of you that don't know, they used to have, up until a few months ago or several months ago, they had some regulations around using text in those Facebook cover photos. They really wanted them to be photos, but they literally got tired of policing it. and they've changed their guidelines so that you can include text. So your cover photos can include information about your latest promotions. They can include coupons. They can certainly include phone numbers and web addresses and things like that. So basic contact information now can be put right at the top of your Facebook page, right as part of that cover photo. And you can even publish to existing photo albums and even create new photo albums with this tool. So not only can you publish images to particular Facebook posts, but you can actually populate albums. And you can bulk schedule. So when we talked about generating this content in advance, and we showed even that one example of a spreadsheet that was used particularly for Twitter, but it can be used for anything. This tool enables you to import content from an Excel spreadsheet so that you can schedule multiple posts all at one time just by importing that spreadsheet. The spreadsheet can include a field for a link. It can include a field for an image, and all of that content can be imported in. So for several of our customers, we're actually generating content on like a monthly basis and publishing all of that content for an entire month. You can see all of the content in the system at any time and edit it as needed. So when it comes to content management with these same social media management tools, you want to be able to review those scheduled posts. You want to be able to modify those. Potentially you may want to delete a post. You want to be able to review the posts you've already sent. You want to save posts as drafts so that you can complete them later. I mean, we talked about like those placeholders for blogs and different things like that. You may not have all the information you need, or maybe you want to link to a landing page that your web team is creating and it's not ready yet. So you can start a post, know that you're going to complete it later and save it as a draft. And with a lot of these tools, you can establish a content approval workflow. So there could be, like we talked about, maybe those younger employees, maybe there's some entry-level, tellers or something like that, and at the front end that, can help you generate this social media content. You can actually give them access to these types of social media tools so that they can create that content, basically post it for you. But maybe you want to be able to review it, or have somebody else review it for compliance or typos or grammar, anything like that, before it can be published. Well, those types of user permissions are available in a lot of these systems, so that you can have people that have the ability maybe to create content but not publish it. Or maybe they can create and publish content but they can't respond to comments from others on your pages. Different opportunities like that for permissions. So when it comes to engaging and how you know if you're engaging and how you can respond to people that are engaging with you on social media, these tools, many of them allow you to receive email alerts on your social media profile activity. Obviously, you want to be able to see posts and comments that are published by others, by your followers to any of your social media sites, and they present them in what I call a priority inbox. So several of the tools do that. All of the content then that gets, all the comments, all of the posts, all of the messages to each of your social media sites, not only the stuff you post, but more importantly, the stuff that other people post is now available for you to look at in one place. The best of these tools score those posts and comments from other people for a sentiment. So they indicate if it's a positive or negative sentiment. And they even let you see information about those users' social media profiles and their Clout score, things like that. So if you're not familiar with Clout, it's clout.com. It's a website that literally gives each and every user on social media a score, a number that indicates their influence. So when you're looking at posts and comments that come into your website, you'll be able to see almost at a glance if it's a positive or negative comment, and you'll then even be able to learn about that individual. And I'll show you what that looks like. And you can reply, retweet, or direct message as you review each post and comment. So we talked about how it was important to, thank somebody for commenting on your page or answering that question or addressing that issue that comes up. These tools give you a way to do that right within the tool. So you don't have to go and log into Facebook or log into Twitter or log into Google Plus to do that. You can do it all right from that centralized dashboard. I have a question came in that asked if the slides will be available, and the answer is yes. I mentioned it at the very, very beginning. I apologize, but everybody that's attending today will be receiving a link this afternoon, an email with a link to download the presentation from SlideShare, and we're also recording the webinar, so you'll also be able to get a link to the to our YouTube channel. So if you need to review the webinar again, you're certainly welcome to. So this is a screenshot again of our tool that shows what that looks like. This is that priority inbox that I was talking about. So what you're seeing here are all the different comments and mentions that came in. They came in via Facebook. That's what this little orange flag is. They came in via Twitter in this case. But if they came in through any of your social profiles, they would show up here. And we have the ability to see what people are saying. We have the ability to reply to those comments right here. If I were to click on their names, I'll show you on the next screen what we see from their, about their profiles. And in this case, actually, I'm not seeing sentiment information, but these little gray dots would be green or red. If the system was able to determine if it was a positive sentiment, it would be green. If it was a negative sentiment, it would be red. And in this case, they're neutral. And you can edit that sentiment as well. So you can change that so that the system learns and gets better at identifying that sentiment. By clicking on any of those links to any of the people that commented or posted about you, this is one case where one of our customers actually received a comment from a Class A minor league baseball team. But they clicked on them and they were able to see how many followers they have, how many people they were following, how many times, this was at Twitter, so how many times they've posted updates on Twitter, and they're able to see that clout score that I mentioned. And they could actually click on timeline to see the content that the River Bandits were actually posting out on Twitter. They would be able to see all of their other mentions from the River Bandits, potentially, and they would see who the River Bandits have favorited and who their influencers are. So you can learn, and this is not just available for other companies, but this would be available for individuals that are posting on your sites as well. You can see what else they're talking about. Maybe they complained about you, and by looking at their timeline, you can see that they're kind of perpetual complainers. Maybe they don't complain very often, but you could actually see what's important to them, what they're talking about, and then be able to respond to them. If you see somebody with a really high clout score, say 80 or above, maybe that's somebody that you want to, direct message and message privately, and thank them obviously for responding to your page. But if they're really active on social media, the more you can get them to talk about your brand and be a brand ambassador for you, the better that's going to be. So maybe send them a promotional item. Maybe you invite them to an event, anything like that, to increase that engagement. And again, down here, you'll see how once you're looking at an individual's profile, you can reply to their comment. In this case, for Twitter, you can direct message them. You can add them to a specific list for follow-up later, different things like that. So I didn't show you on one of the screens, but one of the other capabilities of a lot of these systems is that you can actually assign leads or questions to other users of the platforms. And that's true for our system and others as well, so that when, not every comment that comes in, you're going to be able to answer, or every question. So you can actually assign that to another user of the system. They get an email that there's an action waiting for them, and they're able to log in and then indicate that they've already addressed that, or when they've addressed it. So some of the advanced engagement extras that you could look for in these systems that are certainly available in ours is that you can mark those inbox posts as read or remove them. You can assign them, as I was talking about. And let me go back and show you what that looks like, because it's actually a pretty important feature that a lot of them have. So when I talk about assign, there's a little assign button here. So the bottom here is a pretty substantial complaint that happened to come in. if I wasn't ready to reply to it right away, I would be able to click assign and either assign that to myself or another user of the system so that I know that it gets addressed. And we can mark these all as read, so you'll see the ones that are in bold type, just like your email box, have been unread. Once I've read them or replied to them, they would either automatically be marked as read, or I could click up here to mark them as read, or maybe I want to mark them as unread, just like you do with email, right? So you can assign those responses, to other users. You can modify that sort order. You can set all sorts of filters, so that, maybe you only want to look at, the positive sentiments or the negative sentiments, or only the ones that came in via Facebook, or only the ones that came in via Twitter, all sorts of different filtering options. And for Twitter in particular, Twitter's API gives a lot of these systems some tremendous capabilities. So, we talked about how you want to be able to engage with these people. Well, one thing you can do is set up automatic welcome messages to anybody who follows you. And the systems are pretty smart. So our platform actually enables you to set up multiple welcome messages. So maybe you've got 5 different welcome messages. And when a new fan follows you on Twitter, the system will send one of those 5 messages out, welcoming them. And it'll actually go kind of like in a round robin so that different followers receive different messages. And we can even set a delay, so from the time they follow you, maybe we wait an hour, or maybe we wait 2 hours before we respond with that welcome message. So while we're doing it automatically, it's not looking like it's done automatically. It's looking like it's done, personally, which obviously, increases that engagement. You can set up auto replies for certain posts with specific terms or hashtags. You can auto retweet posts that meet specific rules. And you can auto follow or unfollow people on Twitter based on rules you establish. So somebody who retweets, for example, one of your tweets, you may want to auto follow. But if they don't retweet again for, say, 30 days, maybe you unfollow them. Just all sorts of different capabilities when it comes to Twitter. And Facebook just doesn't have those types of capabilities built into their API yet. So when it comes to monitoring on social media, these systems allow you to monitor dozens and dozens of social media sites and blog sites and news sites for any mention of terms and keywords that you specify. So you can tweak out rules, which you'll need to filter out, unnecessary content. And obviously expand that reach even with a lot of these tools with Google Alerts. So you can leverage Google to look in addition to these tools looking. And one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily do that I would recommend is that you monitor your competitors. Why not find out what your competitors are doing on social media and what people are saying about them? Because it could potentially lead to opportunities for you. And you can also, put in the names of your executives or the names of your board members and monitor any mention of them. And, just like I mentioned that I would recommend looking for unlimited profiles on the publishing side, I would look for solutions that give you unlimited brand and keyword monitors as well, because they are very popular or very powerful, and you want to make sure that you're not limited to only having a few of them. You want to be able to stay aware of feedback from review sites. So a lot of these systems will integrate with Yelp and all the different review sites that are out there. So you want to know when those reviews come in. You want to be able to thank the people for giving you positive reviews, and maybe you want to respond to negative reviews. And you want to be able to monitor LinkedIn group discussions potentially as well. So all of that can be done through these monitoring applications. A question came in regarding those Twitter capabilities that I had talked about, and it was if those are available to all Twitter account administrations or just available through LKCS. It's actually not available directly from Twitter, but it's available through different third-party social media management solutions, such as the one we offer. But there are other platforms that also offer that type of Twitter integration. But it is available through Twitter's API, so a lot of these solutions, or several of these solutions, give you those types of capabilities. So with our solution and with several of these, all of these mentions are displayed in a central monitoring dashboard. And we give you the ability to get a daily or a weekly email summary of that activity, including, again, whether it's a positive or negative sentiment. So this is what that looks like within the dashboard. So you'll see, these are some media partners that have picked up, either published articles or picked up press releases. You'll see a mortgage group here. You'll see a community organization. Obviously, you'll see a Google News feed. And we'll be able to see those green dots for positive sentiment. And again, I can respond right from here. So I click here. In these cases, because I don't have necessarily a profile on the Sun-Times website, I click respond. It will take me to that website where I can respond to them. But I can thank my media partners, for publishing my news releases or publishing my information, to, again, encourage them to do that more and more frequently. When it comes to reporting, these tools give you that ability to analyze your social media activity and the reach that you're getting. They keep a record of all of your social media posts, which is pretty important. They will show you each post's effectiveness, by the number of shares, the number of clicks, the number of comments. Most of these tools have built-in reports, and most of them allow you to create custom reports as well. And again, these reports are available within the tools, but a lot of the tools have the ability for those reports to be delivered to you by email on a weekly or monthly basis, let's say. So here are some screenshots of the different pieces of our reporting. These all get published nicely in a little, in a PDF, but it was easier to take some screenshots for this presentation to show them. But you'll be able to see a record of all of your posts for the time frame that you're reporting on, and you'll be able to see all of the metrics relating to each of those posts. And this would be true for Facebook or Twitter or any of your social media profiles. You can see a scorecard, so you can see how this time frame, maybe this month, compared to last month as far as the number of interactions, the audience that you reached, the influence that you're having, the number of clicks you got, right? You'll be able to see the growth in the number of fans. I don't necessarily feel that the growth in fans is the top metric you should be mentioning, you should be watching for, because a lot of people will look at your information without actually clicking as a fan or clicking as a like. But this will show that change in likes, and you do want to see that slow and steady, obviously, growth. And you'll be able to see, obviously, daily new likes or unlikes. So what happened on July 8th? What did we post, or what event was there that got us 7 new fans that day? And maybe what happened on a certain day where we lost, some fans. So you'll see these peaks and valleys, and you'll be able to then go back and look at those posts that you sent out those days to see what caused that. So everybody attending today, I'm just about done, but you are all eligible for a free 30-day trial of our social media management platform. And to claim that benefit, all you need to do is tweet or message us with the hashtag LKCS free trial. Give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to get you set up and show you how to use the system, and you guys can give it a try. Some of our other social media marketing solutions, in addition to the management platform, is we can help you set up your different profile accounts and design those for you. We can develop content. We can train you not only on how to develop content, but also train your staff on not only on using these social media management tools, but also all of your employees potentially on the appropriate use of social media. We can help you just develop strategies for building that community. We can help you with social media advertising, social media contests, all of those types of things. And that's all I have for you. So I really want to thank you for spending the hour with me. But I would be happy to stick around and answer any questions that you have, at the end of the presentation here, or feel free to contact me offline and we can discuss anything further.